By a show of hands here, who knows what opiates are? Alright, so about half the class. Chances are you most likely have been prescribed opiates if you've ever broken a bone, had surgery, had a cold, or simply just a bad cough. You most likely have been prescribed one of the following: Oxycontin, Percocet, Vicodin, codeine, or hydrocodone. Opiates are substances that have morphine-like effects to stop pain transmissions to reaching your central nervous system. Hello, my name is Brian, and today my claim is why opiates are a cancer to the medical field and their patients. Opiates have been proven to, 1, increase suicide, overdoses, and addiction, and 2, the creators of it, the pharmaceutical companies, have made billions in profit. Opiates have been around since the 1830s and have been deemed as a curing and wonder drug, because it cures colds, pains, PTSD, etc., etc. Opiates in modern American society are like an iPhone 3S commercial. If you have a medical problem, there's an opiate for that. The truth is, opiates are extremely effective because it numbs nearly all pain. That is why in society we use them for everything. For example, if you're going into an operation, surgery, you don't want to be awake for that, right? You want to be sedated. However, society has become dependent on opiates and its antiquated properties. For example, Oxycontin and oxycodone have been around since 1919. Codeine since 1830, morphine in syringes 1853, and Percocet, the newest one, 1970s. Opiates don't cure the problem, but simply numb the pain temporarily until your next dosage. And as you use them more often, your tolerance goes up and you need more opiates to numb your pain. Put these numbers into perspective. There are 220 million adult Americans in the US that could have easy access to opiates. Out of those 220 million, 26 million actually are daily opiate users. And out of those 26 million, over 2 million are addicts. That means 1 in 13. Earlier there was about 25 people, so if we were all here using opiates, 2 of us would be addicts. And these numbers were from the 2015 National Pain Report. In 2014, I personally was addicted to Oxycontin and codeine. So that would be a 2014 statistic, not 2015. I would have been a part of the statistic though. 45,000 people die every year from opiates, 33,000 of them overdose, and 12,000 from suicide. That means 1 in 578 patients who use opiates die every year, like clockwork. And yes, there are alternatives to opiates. Through surgery, rehabilitation therapy, talk therapy, even marijuana is a viable option and alternative. And certainly advanced countries like Germany, Denmark, and the Netherlands, according to an article in the New York Times by Dr. Balazs Stumpiro, director of the European Medical Travel Alliance, we provide high quality and reasonable prices. Common users of opiates are older people that need joint or hip replacement, which costs about $90,000 to $95,000 to have that operation done in the United States. So they rely on opiates instead that cost a couple $100s a week. And while in Europe, to get the same treatment, it costs $28,000 to $35,000 round trip, hospital bills, and like medical. Even high-profile athletes have had addiction problems and are dependent on opiates. Like Brett Favre was addicted to Oxycontin. Even Peyton Manning struggled his entire career. In 2011, he had neck surgery in the United States from Dr. Sasso, an Indiana surgeon who was highly renowned and experienced. However, he had a lot of complications and had to go to Germany, had a second operation of a single-level anterior fusion neck surgery, and was able to play 4 more successful seasons in the NFL. And then the complications he had in his first surgery, he lost feeling in his fingertips. Rehabilitation therapy can relieve pain and over time possibly cure, like back pain, knee pains, neck pains, back pain, foot pain. And chronic in this instance means lifelong. Even cannabis is an alternative with numbing cannabinoid properties. However, that doesn't cure the problem. because it's not proven by science. But it is, you could use it as an alternative daily than use pills daily, opioid. Also, talk therapy, like a lot of people who have PTSD that come back from war use a lot of opioids and eventually commit suicide. And talk therapy could eliminate that. No one has ever died from talk therapy or rehabilitation, and a lot less people die from surgeries than from opioids. The reason the US does not advance their medical agenda is because opioids are extremely profitable and is a cash cow in this country. And in the most recent data, 2011, pharmaceutical companies made nearly $70 billion in profit from patenting, creating, and manufacturing drugs and medication. And in the same report, 40 to 60% of the profit came directly from opioids. That means about $28 billion came directly from opioids. If the pharmaceutical companies reinvested 1% of their profits, or even 0.5% of their profits, we could catch up to similar advanced countries like Denmark, Germany, and the Netherlands. And actually find possible cures rather than still using the same antiquated drugs and medicines that have been around since before the Civil War. Opioids have become a cancer to progress, leaving patients addicted, while the creators make billions in profits. Thank you.
All right, we got to go quickly here. The phrasing of the proposition is the same thing that I mentioned a couple of times. You've got it phrased as a question as opposed to a declarative statement. There's a preview of the supporting structure of the speech. That's okay. But the signpost on that first point is not very clear. And then there's just a whole bunch of data, stories, examples, and claims that are presented there that I think need a little bit more structure. So even though you do have 2 points in the speech, the second point comes very late, and that first point has so much information in it that it needs some substructure for itself. There's a whole assumption here that other countries don't have the opioid problem that you're talking about, and I didn't get any information on that. You mentioned, in Germany, the cost of a hip replacement or some kind of surgery that's being done, but I didn't hear any information that says that they have fewer people who are taking opioids or that they don't have anybody who's addicted to opiates. It sounded to me like they just make sure it's the old people who get the opiates rather than anybody else. And even then, there's not any data on that. That's like a vague reference in that one quote. So I think that there's a problem here in the assumption that it is necessarily unique to our system. It may very well be, but I don't think it's been very well proven with your particular argument. I don't think anybody doubts that overuse of opioids can be problematic. The alternatives that you talk about, where's the data that says those alternatives work? When I don't know what your reason for taking the opioids was, the opiates that you had was, whether it was related to surgery, an accident that you had, some kind of continuing condition that went on. My question then is immediately, well, would cannabis have solved your problem? Would talk therapy have solved your problem? What alternatives were available in that particular situation? There's no discussion of that. I don't know if there's an argument here that says that they are being overprescribed, that we shouldn't be, that we don't need them at all, that something else would be just as effective, or that either of those points, I think, would be a little bit clearer as to what your argument is. And then the stuff about Europe would make a little bit more sense that's being presented there. I got to shut up because we've run out of time here. All right, thank you.